And I am live. Okay. Just something really quick, y'all. Chances are, won't anybody even make it in here by the time I end this. You'll be seeing it after the fact. But I am very much alive at the moment. I promise y'all. The mama and I have spent the last 2 days traveling. Now, don't get me wrong. Yesterday, we got a chance to go through Shiloh, National Battlefield and Military Park, and we've been there before. Just kind of let ourselves through, drove around some of the roads. I think we probably covered about half of it, but we didn't stop and see a lot. We did some time ago hit Donaldson Military Park and Battlefield and the Dover, Tennessee area. There was a hotel. I can't remember the name of the hotel right now off the top of my head, but we did get to see all that. We took the entire full tour, and that was awesome. If you're a Civil War buff or history buff, these are some things. We haven't seen Fort Henry yet, which is right up the road from Fort Donaldson. But we had spent a little bit of time at Shiloh yesterday. Got to watch a movie that was 45 minutes long that they reenact the Civil War. I feel real bad, honestly. I've made a joke for years when I first moved to the South that every year they reenact, the people from the South reenact the Civil War, specifically the Civil War at and around the area of Shiloh, Corinth, Farmington, all that area there. And I've always made a joke that, it just doesn't make sense to me. Why would you reenact getting your butt whooped? And I didn't understand. It's a part of history. No, it's not. If you think about it, the Civil War actually kind of sprung up from the fight over slavery. The North wanted slaves to be freed, and of course the South, being profitable in the cotton and tobacco plantations, they wanted to keep slavery alive. And little by little that led in, that wasn't the only thing, of course, but that led it into certain states seceding from the Union, and Civil War had ensued. So a lot of people take a lot of pride in that history, even though the South doesn't come out on the shining winning side. In the end, of course, the South lost. And in my opinion, both sides lost. The amount of bloodshed that happened there, it's hard to say we're triumphant because we only lost 200,000 of our soldiers, or whatever the number would be. The North lost probably as many or almost as many troops as the South did. So surrendering to keep people alive seemed to be the best thing to do instead of everybody fighting to their death over a cause that, let's face it, once everyone's dead, the cause would be alive no more anyway. But we spent a little while there, a couple hours, I suppose, and there's still a lot of that park after we saw the map that we're like, oh, wow, we haven't covered any of these areas yet, so there's a lot of that park we've yet to see. We did get to see the eagles last time. We didn't see any eagles this time. Of course, it's right there by the river, by the Tennessee River. But then the whole purpose of this trip was court today. And this is what I want to talk about. Almost everybody here drives. Almost all y'all. There might be a few who have quit driving. There might be a few who have never driven. But almost everybody here watching this drives. And I want to implore you a few different things. One, always, if you're just going down to the corner to get a pack of cigarettes, always buckle up. Some of you know what I'm talking about, some of you don't. On January 2nd, 2018, I was in a big truck. I had delivered a load that I had been carrying. I was empty. Thank God. It turned out bad enough, empty. I don't even want to think how that would have turned out if the truck would have been loaded. And I was on the way down to Reagan, Tennessee, and along the way, struck a vehicle that just about came to a stop right in front of me, making a right turn, ever so slowly creeping on a 65-mile-an-hour, four-lane divided highway with a very wide shoulder. I'm angry that the man driving the truck didn't pull to the shoulder while he was trying to determine which of the four driveways he was wanting to pull in. That doesn't matter. At no time, even in the wrong, if that man's parked in the middle of a 65-mile-an-hour highway, even in the wrong, at no time does that man deserve to be struck with another vehicle. I did not see his turn signal. I don't remember seeing the turn signal. I do know that I was in the process of trying to change lanes to get around of him because I noticed that he wasn't driving the same speed I was. I had noticed that at the top of the hill that I was descending. I had gotten close enough that I thought, oh, he's not driving the same speed after all. Went to change lanes, and before I could look back up, boom, there it was. The passenger was not seat belted, the driver was. The passenger got thrown into the windshield. The windshield had gotten knocked out, but meanwhile, probably the dashboard might have slowed his motion, and he fell back into the seat. As he had hit probably the rear view mirror, is of course got a metal post on it that allows you to swivel and adjust something. I don't know, but I had heard that he had a very large gash in his head. He laid across the seat and bled to death before the first responders could get there. The driver was seat belted, and the driver lived. And had the passenger been seat belted, I'd like to believe he'd have lived too. I'll never know. No one will ever know. But that could be you. Going down to the corner. I've done that a million times. I drive a seatbelt religiously in the big truck, but when I get in my vehicle, I don't. It could be me trying to get across the highway to go into the package store and go get a cold drink or something. You never know. Seatbelts save lives. Yes, there are arguments about times where if people who weren't seatbelted would have been, who's to say what that might have been, but in the majority of cases, seatbelts save lives. I implore you, get in the habit of wearing it. If there's someone who you love that you want to come back, children, grandchildren, significant other, mom, dad, whoever, if there's someone in your life that you want to keep on seeing, if not for you, for them, please start wearing your seatbelt everywhere you go. And number 2, whatever it is you do while you're driving, God forbid texting, be on a phone. You know, a lot of people seem to think that if you have a hands-free, you've got your phone attached to the air conditioning vent or in a cup holder or something, and you're on a wireless headset, that therefore you're not breaking the law. That's true, you're not. However, you're still distracted, especially if you're in a heated discussion with the individual you're talking to on the phone. I've seen enough video of people who are on a hands-free headset driving. Both their hands, you can see them from their little camera little deal, and both their hands are on the steering wheel. And a lot of the trucks nowadays, have dash cams, one pointing at the driver, one pointing out the road. And they're distracted. Next thing you know, they don't see the guy changing lanes in front of them until it's too late. His speed is faster than that guy. If he just slowed up a little bit, he never would touch the guy. All kinds of things like that. Whatever you're doing, please pay attention. Start paying better attention. There are situations, like in my case, I do not honestly remember seeing that man's turn signal. The camera showed that it was on. That came out today in court. I never did know. The camera said today that, yes, the video captured his turn signal on. And I don't remember. I'm assuming that maybe I did notice it, or at least I noticed I was gaining on him, or I'd have had yourself from your driving. Put your focus in front of you. Not down here, whatever's in your hand. There shouldn't be anything in your hand. Pay attention to your driving, not to your phone. We all got one. It's a necessary evil in life anymore. It really is. It's one of these things. I hate it. I wish I could live without it. We all could if we forced ourselves to, but we've convinced ourselves, oh no, I need it too much for all the things I've got going on. And I get that, but it shouldn't be while you're driving. I really wish there was something in a motor vehicle that would make a cell phone not work so long as the engine is running. Honestly, with as much things that I use my phone for, and sometimes I use it as GPS in addition to my other GPS, because I might have 2 different addresses going, and I don't want to have to reprogram my main GPS just so I can make this little stop off here at a particular truck stop. Pull that up on the trucker app. So please pay more attention to what you're doing and less attention to your phone or to the CD you're changing out or tuning your stereo radio, whatever it is that you're doing, that you've had so many close calls in the past. And this is something I can tell you from personal experience. A lot of folks, including yours truly, if we're honest with ourselves and admit about all the times we almost wrecked. Say, oh, I've been years on my cell phone. I ain't never wrecked. Yeah, but how many times did you almost? Be honest with yourself. How many times did you almost? Close calls. There's only so many close calls you're going to get before it's not close at all. It's right on top. And thirdly, wherever you're trying to go, wherever you're trying to get, if you're in trouble because you're always late at your job, start leaving earlier. Allow more than enough time to get where you're going so that you don't have to get where you're going, so that you don't have to drive like an idiot to get there. That you don't have to try cutting people off. That you don't have to sit there and drive like Speedy Gonzales trying to get through all this traffic because you're behind schedule. Leave enough time every day. If it's still, I'm 10 minutes late every day, well, then start leaving 5 minutes earlier. And if you still aren't getting there on time, leave 5 minutes earlier the day before. Hi, Gemma. I'm not gonna be able to chat much. I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and then we've had a long day. We're gonna go to bed. So, but whatever it is you're doing, don't let speed be a factor, because nowadays almost everybody has a fairly new enough car that there's a computer. Now, it's been like that for big trucks for years, but cars have it now too. And if, God forbid, there's to be an accident where somebody dies, and they've plugged into that computer and determined at the time you were speeding, oh, don't you think that the bereaved family's attorney isn't going to have a time with that, and you're going to hang. I'm not done by any means. I had some really good news today. The Sessions Court dismissed my case. They don't feel that the state had presented enough evidence that I should be criminally charged for that man's death. But guess what? June 4th, the grand jury, because I wasn't tried, it was just a hearing in Sessions Court. The grand jury still gets to make a decision on that. And if they decide they want blood, I'll go through this all over again come June. Now, as far as the court's concerned, I was not speeding. But the truth of the matter is, I was doing 67 and a 65. Now, for a 2 mile over the limit, they're not going to hang you. But what if you're doing 5 or 10? Leave enough time that you can slow down, which will do two things. For one, it'll allow you to get places without getting there recklessly, which will reduce your potential of being involved in an accident. And it'll also help make you a little more relaxed during your drive, which will make you have a better day when you get where you're going. So those three things: wear your seatbelt. Make an effort to pay better attention to what's going on in front of your vehicle, in your side view and rear view mirrors, but always more in front than anywhere. But never what's going on in your cup holder where your phone is, or over here at the stereo dial. If you have to take your eye off the road to do that, well, then you need to pull over to do it. Get to the shoulder, get to a ramp, get wherever, make whatever adjustments or text or whatever it is you need to do, phone call, and then get back on the road where you keep your focus driving. Wear your seatbelt every time. If you're just going down the block, wear your seatbelt. Work and make an effort to pay better attention to your driving, to the vehicles in the roadway in front of you, and keep yourself at the speed limit. It'll also help you save money and gas. If you do these three things and get in the habit of doing them frequently, they'll become habits. And sooner or later, almost everybody in their life is going to be at least involved. It might not be while they're driving. It might be a passenger in someone else's vehicle, but sooner or later, almost everybody's going to be involved in at least one wreck. Do these three things so that you'll live through it, and that you won't be in a courtroom fighting for your freedom. If I'm found guilty of this, it comes with a potential, not necessarily mandatory, but it comes with a potential 2-year prison sentence. Just the money alone that I'd end up having to pay, I can't even imagine. And then the idea of losing my freedom for 2 years. They asked, well, was I daydreaming? I really don't think I was, but whatever it was, it can't be undone. No matter what happens, whether they nail me to the cross or they just set me free and say, be careful out there, don't do it again. That man will never live to see his grandchildren grow up and become young adults. He'll never live to tell his wife, I love you one more day. He'll never live to have another Christmas with his family. He's gone. And there's nothing I can do about that. I don't want to see this happen to anybody, whether they be on the receiving end for not being seat belted or they're the one behind the wheel making the impact. Because I can sit back right now and start thinking, well, if I'd have been doing 65 instead of 67, I'd have never been the same space as he was to begin with, because I drove 10 miles down that road to get to that point. So at 2 miles an hour or less, by the time I'd have gotten there, they'd already been down that whichever drive they were going down. If he'd have had his seatbelt on, I want to believe he'd have lived, because the driver was seatbelted and the driver lived. And if I had been paying a little extra effort to the attention and maybe caught that turn signal sooner, I can think, if I'd done, if ain't going to change what happened a year ago. I beg y'all, seat belt, pay better attention, and keep it to the speed limit. You never know when it's going to be your turn to be where I've been today. And I hope nobody has to do that. I wouldn't wish what I've been through so far these past few months. The past year. I've been a year just trying to cope with it. It took me 6 months to get to the point where I can get back behind the wheel of a big truck again. And all the stress that I've endured, all the heartbreak that family endured. I was in the hospital getting a blood test to make sure I was not under the influence of drugs and alcohol. At the same time, the chaplain was breaking the news to that family about their grandfather, father, husband is no more. And I've never heard such crying and wailing in all my life. Y'all, please, when you're driving, please pay more attention. Wear your seatbelt every single time, whether you're driving or the passenger. And slow down. Leave more time to get where you're going. I'm going to go to bed and try to get some sleep tonight. I don't know how much I'll get. Probably ain't going to be a lot. It's been a rough day. Y'all take care. Be good to each other. And not trying to quote a cliche, but like that fellow used to say on Hill Street Blues, y'all be careful.